Hello, everybody. Happy Monday afternoon to you all. I hope you're all doing well. My name is Jason Krutzky. It's a pleasure to be with you here today. This is our regularly scheduled programming, our nice live streams. What's up, Jules? Pamp the energy stocks. We're going to talk about energy stocks today. And the reason why I want to talk about energy stocks today is, well, it's multiple fold. Obviously, energy stocks have been all the rage, right? There's been few stronger sectors in the market. I don't even know if there is a stronger sector in the market over the past couple months than energy has been. It's been an absolute monster. We noticed this weekend lots of charts going around. European energy prices are up 400% this year alone. And winter hasn't even come yet. And so my thinking today is, to be completely blunt, I don't know a thing about energy. I mean, I really don't. I don't follow it. I've never really traded it. It's never been something that I've paid a ton of attention to. I think the few times that I've really tried to trade it, I've ended up getting my head chopped off. You know, like it hasn't worked for me. So what I wanted to do today is I wanted to use the tools on the platform to try and glean some sort of understanding of what the heck is going on with energy. And, you know, more importantly, like try and figure out what a general expectation could be. I do not know what I'm going to find. I've not done this work ahead of time. We're doing this in real time here with you guys. But I'm going to be taking a look at essentially every important energy stock that I can find. I'm going to be doing my normal, the way that I would generally look at charts. I'm going to do that. I'm going to look at the price action and see what's going on with the price action. But I'm also going to utilize some of the more peripheral tools on the platform to see if I can get just a better idea of what to expect going forward. So you can see here on the right side of my chart, I've got seasonality turned on. I've got unusual options turned on. I may even grab insider trading. Let me actually do that real quick. Yeah, so the purpose of using some of these peripheral tools is to just see things in a slightly different way, you know, just glean more understanding. If you look at the charts, especially the European energy price chart, I mean, it looks insane, right? It looks parabolic. It looks blow off top. It looks nuts. So my big question for today is, how much longer is this energy run going to continue? Obviously, there's a lot of tailwinds for the energy industry. You've got the war in the Ukraine with Russia. And that's really the big piece, right? You've got Russia really kind of controlling the narrative here. But American companies are all doing well in this environment. So I just want to take some time and do a deep dive on something that I know nothing about, using the tools on the platform. Like I said, just to see if I can glean some sort of understanding about kind of what to expect going forward. So on the right here, I've got my top energy. Ooh, LM, you love hourly seasonality. Awesome. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's certainly helpful. We're going to be looking at bigger time frames here. We're going to be looking at monthly, weekly. What's up, Alex? Thanks for being here. Hope everybody that's here is doing good. It's glad to have you. I'm glad to have you on. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you being here. And I hope you guys are on board for this talk about energy. If you have any opinions or you have any particular charts that you're looking at in the energy space, I'd love to hear about them. If you've been trading them, I would also be curious to know if anybody, what's up, Brian? How's it going? If anybody here is in Europe and dealing with the energy prices, I guess the astronomically rising energy prices, what's the sentiment like there for you guys? If anybody is in Europe, I would love to know. That'd be awesome. So what I've got up on the chart right now, I've got the XLE chart. Obviously, you know, this is just the biggest energy index that I could think of, XLE and XOP. And on the right hand side here, I actually have I just built this really quickly. This is a list of the top 10 symbols in XLE. Those cover 76% of all of the holdings, or like the total holdings of XLE. 76% of the total holdings of XLE are within the top 10 names. And so the top 10 names are the top 10 names in this list: XOM, CVX, COP, EOG, SLB, MPC, PXD, PSX, KMI, and WMB. Those are the top 10 names. We're going to look at everything you guys have mentioned so far. These are all kind of here. And then on XOP, which is the, what is this? This is the Oil and Gas Explorer and Product Index. We have the top 10 names there. The top 10 names on this index take up about 21% of the total holdings of XOP. So that's OXY. Of course, we all know OXY, uncle, grandfather, daddy Warren, whatever you want to call the guy. That's his big holding. We've got TELL, DEN, EQT, CRK, CLR, RRC, TPL, DVN, HES. So those are the top 10 names on either one of those lists. And actually, since we're here, let me do this too. I'm going to share this with you guys. If you guys are interested in holding on to this list for yourself, let me do this. Share it with you. If you want to follow along on your end, there is a list, the list that I'm going to be using. So the first thing I wanted to look at are the two indices. I want to look at XLE and I want to look at XOP. So on the XLE side, we've got the monthly up here. I've got one moving average running through this thing. This is the 50 period moving average. The reason why it's 50 period, because originally I was looking at, sorry, which did you say XOP and which? XLE, Jules. The reason why I've got the 50 period is because I was originally looking at the weekly, and so the 50 period on the weekly is essentially like a 200-day SMA. And I just kind of wanted to see where we're at with the 200-day SMA. Clearly, over the past year, or actually 2 years, since January 2021, it looks like, or actually around end of November of 2020, we gained that 200-day moving average, and we have not looked back on XLE. Every time we've come into it, we found some nice support at it, and it looks like the last time we tested it was July 11th of 2020. So first piece, you know, we're trading up and over 200-day moving average. Obviously, 200-day moving average is a huge benchmark for many traders, right? Yes, sir, XLE. So now I do my, you know, my price analysis, right? My price action analysis. Some very simple things that I see. We made a relative high April of 2008. We made a new high in June of 2014, and we have not come back to test those highs since. Part of the reason why we have failed to make new highs since, in my opinion, based off of what I understand about price action, is the lows over here. We lost them, right? So we make these lows. That brought us up, and we lost them. And because we lost them, we would anticipate not making a new high up here, which is essentially what we did, right? We kind of came into those previous highs, and we've rejected. But starting to show signs of a potential change of that trend. And there's a couple of names of interest here that we'll take a look at. But so this is the first thing that I noticed. And this is actually why I have, I guess recently, why I've kind of kept my hands off energy. Of course, everybody's talking about it. You want to get into trading it. If you're not into trading it already, it is a unique group of tickers to trade. And again, I don't have much understanding of energy names in general. I don't really know how they trade. So I'm a little squirrely about trading them. And then I see something like this and go, oh, that's pretty scary. I don't know if I would want to be going long energy into what I think is pretty important resistance. Well, some things are starting to change. You had a big outside week a couple, or rather an outside month in looks like June. You went 2 down in July, and then you've got 2 up in August here. So that old 2 down, 2 up reversal. I don't know if you guys hung out for the show last week that we did with Jermaine, the live charting show. He's a strat trader. This is kind of strat philosophy. 2 down, 2 up reversal. You went 2 down, meaning you took out the previous month's lows, and then you went 2 up, meaning you took out the previous month's highs. So you took out, we took out, it was June's lows, and then we gained July's highs. So clear reversal here with targets, you know, up and over the, looks like June high. That doesn't really fare well for my philosophy of trading, where I would be shorting into this. You know, initially it would have worked, but it's reversing. It looks like it's reversing. So then that begs the question, well, if it's reversing, what's the likelihood of making new highs? So that's what we're kind of trying to figure out today. We know that the move in energy has been wildly powerful over the past, especially over the past, you know, 6 months or so. But how much more meat is on the bone for traders who maybe missed the past 6 months? Is it worth trying to take long positions now after things have gotten potentially extended? And I put extended in quotation marks because I really don't know if they've gotten extended. We haven't even made a new high in XLE. Kind of suggests maybe we're not extended at all, right? We're just coming back into test. So then we go over to XOP. So that's where we're at on XLE right now, right? That's kind of where my philosophy is. Initially, we got rejected about the place that I would have expected that we'd get rejected, but we've found some support. We've bounced. We're putting in some reversal candles here on the monthly. And, you know, the monthly closes on Wednesday, and it's looking like a pretty strong signal that we're going to close probably pretty close to where we're at right now. If that's the case, that does set us up for higher prices. You can't hear. You need more volume. Well, let me give you some more volume. Hold on. Let me turn that up real quick. How is this? Is this better? Can you hear me a little bit better now? I just turned it up a little bit on my end. If you still have trouble hearing me, David, just let me know. And what's up, Sonia? What's up, Mark? Mark, I'll take a look at that in just a little while. I just kind of want to go over some of the stuff that I've already kind of got in mind. So next we've got XOP. XOP does not look nearly as good, right? I mean, relatively speaking, you made highs in 2014, and we haven't come anywhere even close to those things. If you compared it relatively to my analysis on XLE, well, then you'd be looking at this previous high in 2008 as a potential level of resistance. That level's at 281. We're trading 152. We're not even close, right? You've got tons of room left to gain here on the Oil and Gas Explorer tickers. So that's something too, right? So then we get into individual names. So I'm just going to pop through some of the individual names. And XOM is one that really strikes me. It's the first name on the list for XLE. And you can see it looks very, 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 very similar to XLE with one clear exception. Those highs have been gained, right? We originally did get kind of rejected at them around, in May and June, but we have since managed to gain them, and now we're trading above them. Justice, let's see. How to turn off the indicator display on the left corner of the screen. Oh, bottom of the indicator list, there's a little thing that says collapse indicator list right here. Just click that. Let me know if that solves it for you. So anyway, so XOM, we're on the monthly, and XOM 2 months ago actually did manage to make a new all-time high. That's different than XLE, right? That clearly shows huge strength in XOM. Let's see if there are other leaders of the pack that we should be referencing for our idea on where we are at in this move on energy. You learned about ET from Ben at Pattern Profits. Ben is a good man. We'll definitely check it out. All right, so CVX. Even more strength on CVX, right? I mean, huge strength into all new all-time highs. and looks like it managed to find support at the previous highs. It gained, it pulled back, it front ran it, but it pretty much found support there, and now it's bouncing and looking like it's headed higher. So far, so good for continuation higher, right? Same deal on COP, biggest name, one of the 10 biggest holdings in XLE. An exact same idea. Previous highs in 2008, new highs in 2014. We lose, we test, and now we've broken out. We've broken out, we've back tested, and looks cleared for continuation higher into new highs. 3 out of 10 names so far looking better than the index. That's kind of interesting. Same deal really on EOG here. This is name number 4. Pretty much the same look with your 2014 highs. It did manage to make a new high in 2018, so that's a little bit different, a little bit outside of the norm from the other symbols, but also then made new all-time highs in June of this year, pulled back, found support, and is bouncing now too. SLB, 5th name in the list. Watching from Sweden. Okay, awesome, Marcus. Now we're going to go sidetrack for a second here. Watching from Sweden, heating with stove for the moment. Electricity prices in Europe going ballistic. Okay, so let's talk about this ballistic European electricity prices. What is the general feel on the ground? What are you and your friends talking about at dinner? Is this something that you guys are wildly concerned about? Are you thinking that this is going to get resolved in the near term? Are you just planning ahead for a very, very lousy, expensive winter? How are you dealing with it? I generally am curious. I want to know. Lolly Bear, can you share a relative strength scanner for daily and weekly trading strat? Now, we can definitely whip something up a little bit later. If you're interested in doing that, we can look into doing something. Lolly, right now I'm going to stay focused over here on the energy stuff for a little while just because I just want to try something new. We generally, with these shows, they're very loose and free form, and I just kind of go wherever you guys kind of push me, but I'm going to try and stay focused here on this energy thing for a little while. I just want to, I want to understand it better. So one thing we haven't done, let me go back to the original 5 names because I don't, Lolly, I don't have anything right off the top for you, but we could definitely build something, and I would actually love to build something with you. Maybe you can, in a little while, maybe you can give me a bit of an idea of what specifically you're looking for, and then we can build something together. Annie, does TrendSpider have real-time chart for SPX? We do not have real-time index charts. Index charts are 15 minutes delayed for SPX. So that's the $sign. It'd be $SPX, but index charts are 15 minutes delayed. Investing all your life savings in uranium. Hey, uranium stocks are definitely ripping right now. That's for sure. I know that a lot of people are talking about them today, and we could talk about them in a little bit for sure, because of course that's energy too. One thing I kind of skimmed over, forgot to kind of take a look at. I'm going to go back and look at seasonality on these guys. I'm going to go back and look at unusual options and on insider trading just to see if we get any sort of understanding, right? We just want to know what to expect here. So with Exxon historically since 1998, weakest performing month of the year since 1998 is August. The weakest performing month of the year is August. That's something. That's really something to think about. I mean, that is, what's that, 24 years worth of data? 24 years worth of data, and the weakest month is this month. And look where we're at right now. Look how strong of a month we're having on XOM just right now. I mean, that suggests that the winds are going to be really at our sails going into the winter months. You can see the positive increase here from August to September in XOM, you're going from a 29% win rate, meaning simply that it's a green candle, right? You open or you close higher than you open per month. So in August, 29% of the time, it's green. It's a positive month. In September, 48% of the time, it's a positive month. So it's almost a double your chance of having a green month. And then going into the end of the year, 57% in October, 57% in November, and then 63% in December. I mean, one of the strongest performing months of the year is December. You have a little bit of weakness in January, and then you're right back into the strength. 54% for February, looks like 67% in March, and then 67% again in April. So really the summer doldrums are a very real thing for XOM, which is not exactly what I would expect with travel in the summer. I would kind of expect XOM to be strong then, but not the case. Weakest month of the year is August. So if it's performing this well in August, imagine how it will perform heading into, further strength, right? On the unusual options side, we're going to keep it kind of simple on the unusual options side and just scan for maybe big premiums. Don't need to do too much work here. It looks like the 120 call is the only thing that I can find, or the only data point that I have available. $1.4 million for this particular order, and that's the 120 calls for December of this year. So we're trading $100. We've got a $1.4 million bet that we're going to be trading at least 120 by December next year. It's 20% move from where we're at right now. On the insider buying selling side, what do we got? Well, we've got a little bit of buying here. It looks like Jeffrey Ubben, who's this guy? He's the director. I don't know exactly what this guy's role is. Oftentimes, there will be more than one director. But $3.5 million spent on August 5th. $9.4 million spent on August 4th. August 4th, also $75.5 million. There's a lot of talk about why insiders buy and sell, but the general rule of thumb is insiders buy for one reason, and that is because they think the stock's going to go up, right? They sell for all kinds of reasons. You can't really ever pin anything to why an insider sells. So many different things in life could cause them to sell. It could also just be them taking their paycheck. But when they buy, and they buy with this sort of conviction, this guy spent, almost $100 million in 2 days on August 5th. He clearly knows something. He clearly thinks something's up. We could go to August 5th and see where we were at. See where August 5th is. On the big pullback. He bought very, very heavily into that big pullback around $86. So it's kind of interesting to know, right? And this is all just helping us to kind of like build some sort of idea of what to expect going forward. Because again, I'm an idiot. I don't know anything about energy. I don't know anything about how these companies should perform, how they perform historically. I don't know really anything about how they trade. I just don't trade them. So I'm relying on my understanding of technical analysis, but I'm also really relying on TrendSpider tools here to give me a bit more of an understanding of what to expect. What's up, Amit? Hope you're doing well, my friend. I'm doing good over here. I'm doing a deep dive analysis into energy names because I have no clue about them, and I really feel like I'm doing myself a disservice by not knowing enough about them. So on CVX here, CVX looks like August, 50% chance of a green month in August, historically since 1998. Let's see if we can go back further here. We can. All right, so since 1972 on CVX, the worst performing month on CVX, guess what it is? It's August. It's August. Worst performing month, 46% win rate. It's a tie with January. So January and August, worst performing months on CVX. Let's go to the monthly time frame and see how we look. Well, we don't look that bad on the monthly time frame. We're 2 up, we went 2 down, 2 up. So we've got a reversal thing going on here on the monthly. Okay, we're building a better understanding, right? Let's check out the options. Let's see how options are positioned. I'm just going to touch this up a little bit. All right, so on the options side, not quite as good. Not quite as bullish on the options side. We could see that looks like, let's see here. Make this a little bit bigger. August 29th, we had the 150C come in. That was almost $1 million trade. $810,000 for the 180C. We're trading 165. This is a pretty bullish bet. Not a huge amount of the open interest. This is a little bit more interesting. August 22nd, the 150 puts, 210% of the open interest, a $1.1 million trade for the 150 put. So that's kind of interesting. Options giving us a little bit of a mixed signal. We're going to go to insiders and see what insiders are doing. We've got this Pierre Breber fella, VP and CFO. Okay. So he's been selling a little bit, $3.6 million worth of shares on the 23rd, $3.6 million worth of shares on the 11th. We don't know if this is him taking salary. We have to consider that. And then we've got this Austin Wanda fella. On July 31st, sold $1.8 million worth of shares. Nothing hugely fundamental, but I do definitely see a lot more selling here. I don't see any buying. So something to keep in mind. Also, I would argue that maybe, well, I don't know. Is CVX not as strong as XOM? Yeah, CVX is a little bit stronger. So it's a little bit more extended. It's already made all new highs. Could it cool off maybe a little bit? Potentially. That's possible. Let's see here. Blue Moon. If there is a crisis with energy, doesn't the government typically get involved, which ultimately has an impact on oil and gas pricing in the market? I mean, certainly can. I would assume. I don't know. I would assume that maybe governments can ask energy companies to cool their prices off, or maybe they could ask them to produce more. I don't really know. That would be. That's not real. I wish I knew more about that, but I just simply don't. Do I have other sector factors like you've shared about oil industry? August worst month, strong September. Give me an example, Brian. Give me an example. I mean, seasonality really kind of is a broad brush, you know. It's like seasonality in theory would take into account everything happening to a stock all the time, right? Because it's just simply, is it green on the month? Is it red on the month? Now you can change the options here for seasonality. You can define relative volume values. You could say above average volume, right? You could say RSI values. You can say, you know, these months out of the year, it tends to have RSI above X or whatever. You can change all of this stuff. Money flow index, the moving average. So like price distance above the moving average. So price above the 20, price above the 50, price above the 100, and so on. I just like using change percentage because it's just it's a very simple metric. You know, was the stock green this month or was it red? Did it perform well? Were buyers in control or were sellers in control? It's just the easiest metric to me. So let's go to COP here, ConocoPhillips, and we'll look back at the same amount of time, 1972. And what is our weakest month of the year for the past 50 years on ConocoPhillips? Was January. August at 54% win rate. So pretty average, really. Conoco tends to perform pretty average. What's up, Joseph? Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. I'm glad you really like seasonality. That's awesome. Yeah, it's just a different way of getting some understanding about what's going on with the stock. And again, we're using the monthly time frame here. You can kind of make you can utilize different time frames. I was trying to think of a better way to say it, but you can utilize different time frames. So you can check out the week of the year, best performing week of the year, or how each week of the year compares to each other week of the year. You can compare day of the week and hour of the day. So if you're day trading, maybe you want to try using the hour of the day. Maybe you'll notice that a stock tends to perform better on the open and it tends to perform weakly on the close, you know? Buy the open, sell the close, buy the open, sell the close, or whatever. As you get into those smaller time frames, the percentages definitely even out quite a bit. You won't see like, or it'll be very rare to see 80% win rate at 10 a.m. and 20% win rate at 12. That's pretty rare, but it's still something you can try. It's still something a tool that you can use to gauge expectation a little bit, outside of what your indicators are saying. So anyway, on Conoco, we don't really have the weakest month of the year being August. That's a little bit different from the first two names, but we do have strength coming into year's end. 57% win rate in September, not quite as strong as March and April here, or March and May, but coming into December is strongest month of the year. And we've seen that on CVX. December is pretty strong. Oh, actually, it looks like March and April strong on CVX. On XOM, strongest month of the year is December as well. So we know that so far, energy companies do tend to perform pretty strongly coming into the year's end. We can check on the unusual options and see if there's anything here that's of interest. Looks like August 17th, there was a big order for the 100 puts for January 2023 expiry. This thing's trading 115. That person was either selling those things or they got their head chopped off. It's just as simple as that. And then on the insider side, what do we see? We see awards and we see selling. We don't see any buying. So that's kind of interesting. This one also, though, is pretty extended, right? We are trading it at or near new all-time highs, and those new all-time highs were made in the past couple of months. So relatively extended in comparison to some of the other ones. Going to EOG next here. What's up, Brad? How we doing? Hope you're good. EOG next. Same kind of deal. We've got new all-time highs made just 2 months ago with a little bit of pullback and a nice push here into this month. Now, if we go over to seasonality, past 33 years of seasonality, August is definitely not the weakest month, but we are coming into some strength in September. 66% win rate in September historically, and then it kind of falls off for October, November, and then December we see more strength again. 67% win rate. Looks like the strongest month is March, weakest month is July, and we can go back to July and see July was a weak month, so it kind of met historical expectations in that way, right? On the premium side, let's just look at premium here. August 19th, big trade. Let's see, 1,000% of the open interest, $2 million on this particular order. This was the 82 put for expiry January 2024. So that's kind of interesting. That's a big bet, and looking for about $30 worth of downside. Don't know how well that's going to play out, but they've got a lot of time on it, 2024, so something to think about. On the insiders side, not much there. Nobody buying that we can see. We see a lot of awards being given in July. A little bit of selling, but really not much selling either. So sometimes, you got to consider if they're not selling, they're at the very least they're holding. So maybe they're not buying, but they're not selling either. Something to think about. Next one, SLB. SLB, weakest month of the year since 1972. Now this one does not look nearly as good, right? Not even close. Just barely up and over the 50 month. But it has been tracking this 200-day pretty nicely. This is my 50-week, so 200-day. Looks like they tried to fail it in July, but they ended up gaining it back. So all in all, still relatively strong. but a weak outlier in comparison to the last, 5 names that we've looked at. Still making some new relative highs here. Looks like the 2019 high, they were able to get just barely above 2019 high. And looks like they're probably going to try and find their way back, make some new highs here over the coming months. Now on the seasonality side, this month tends to perform okay, 52%. Next month tends to be really weak, 39% win rate in September. So that's kind of interesting because it's kind of setting up to be strong next month. On the premium side, what do we got here? August 23rd, we have a 30 put, about $800,000 in premium there for the 30 put to expire January 2024. We also have on August 19th, 37.5 calls, about $1 million in premium there to expire September 16th. So that's a little bit less time. What I'm kind of looking for here are big premiums, but I'm also looking for when things are set to expire. Are people hedging? Are they taking leaps? Are they selling? We don't really know exactly what everybody's plan is for these, so we just have to kind of come to our own conclusions. 40 calls. This was a trade that was made on August 2nd, almost $1 million in premium, expiring January of 2023. So the bigger calls here, the bigger contracts here, are mostly further out in time. January 2024 on the puts, January 2023 on the calls, and then we have this big order for the 37.5 call on August 19th. So this guy or gal is definitely crushing on this trade here. Check in with you guys real quick. So the idea, buy a decent looking chart that is currently in a low seasonality but has a strong next 2 months. I mean, that would be kind of to some degree where my head would be at, Blue. Yeah, how many years of stats are available? So it's unique per symbol. It depends on how much data we have on them, how long they've been trading. Yeah, like Brett said, it'll be equivalent to how far back you can go on the chart. If you can go back to 1970 on the chart, you're going to have back to 1970 on the seasonality data. So then we're going to look at insiders. Insiders are selling a little bit in May. Not really doing too much since May. Looks like we got some awards. No buying, not much selling. They're kind of hanging out. And that's not really a huge surprise. If this name's been lagging, which clearly it has been, in comparison to some of its peers, why would you be selling? If you see all of your relative names around you all gaining, you kind of would expect this one to gain too. So this is kind of an interesting relative laggard in the space. I mean, it did make new relative highs against the 2019 highs, but you go back to 2018, you go back to 2014, go back to 2008, where we saw other names gaining, at least testing, but in quite a few cases, they were gaining these levels. You almost wonder if this thing's got room to find its way back just the same way that some of these other big names have. So that's an interesting one. Maybe we want to put a little key next to it. Over here on the right hand side, you can add a little tag on your watch list, and it's just something small to add to kind of let you know, I want to stay a little bit more focused on a particular name, or I want to not be focused on a particular name, whatever. So anyway, we go to MPC next. Oops, I got a lot of stuff going on here. MPC, all new highs, almost getting into new all-time highs this month. Huge month over here on Marathon. Clearly well above all of its previous highs. Super strong, this particular name. And let's look at seasonality. In August, 50% chance of a green month. That is the second weakest Second weakest month of the year. First weakest month of the year, September, with a 36% win rate. Now, we don't have a ton of data here. We've only got back to 2011. So we're looking back, 11 years. But still pretty interesting. You have such, you have a 50% chance of weakness in September, and it's having a huge month this year. Or rather this month, having a huge month. Again, another 2 down, 2 up reversal, clearly targeting previous highs, 114.58. But, who knows? You're coming into the weakest month of the year next month. It'll be very interesting to see how this one ends up performing next month, considering it's drastically weaker in September historically than any other month. If we go to unusual options, I'm just looking at the biggest block trades. August 26th, we've got the 95 calls, 1,070% of the open interest, 1.8 million in premium for the 95 call. This thing's trading 106, and this trade was made on August 26th. So already working, already quite well in the money. Let's see on August 26th, assuming maybe they bought that down day, it's clearly working out for them now. We also have on August 23rd, we have the 100 puts. This is 1,000% of the open interest. Looks like almost $1 million in premium for the April 2023 100 put. Could it be hedging? Sure, could be. Could it be selling puts? Could be that too. How's it going, Safwan? How's it going, Joe? Hope you guys are doing good. So we are going to, I'm happy to take a look at some of these names in a little while, Joe and Safwan. But I'm really, really focusing on energy here. I'm trying to understand what the heck is going on with energy, and I'm trying to understand what I can expect going forward with energy. Obviously, energy has been the talk of the town for some time, and as somebody who doesn't pay much attention to it, my mindset coming into today's show is energy is extended, energy is going to sell off. That was my mindset. And I'm starting to just by looking at a few names, looking at seasonality, looking at how things are performing against their norms, I'm starting to change that mindset. So that's what this whole show is about today. It's about gaining insight into a world that I know nothing about, using all the tools on TrendSpider. This is my idea today. Just buy and hold Oxy. Yeah, we're going to get there. We're almost at Oxy. All right, so MPC, clearly very strong. We might be a little bit worried about how it performs next month because it tends to perform really, really, really poorly in September. That being said, it certainly does not look like it's setting up to perform poorly. So that's interesting. On the insiders buying and selling side, we got very little information here as far as buying and selling. Lots of shares being awarded, not much selling going on. No information can sometimes be information, right? If you know that they're not selling, well, that tells you something, right? This thing is hitting new all-time highs and they're not selling. What does that say? I'll let you be the judge of what that says. I know what that tells, or what I think that tells me. PXD, going into the next name here. Now, remember, we're just looking right now at the top 10 names in the XLE index. Top 10 names in the XLE index cover about 76% of the total holdings of XLE. So that's why I've chosen to look at these 10 names, because it's 76% of XLE. So it's a huge portion of XLE. All right, so PXD. Clearly, another banger, right? We are into new all-time highs. We have a huge reversal on the monthly, 2 down, 2 up. This is becoming a thing, is it not? On the right-hand side, seasonality, 52% win rate. Historically, weakest months are May, June, July. Again, this is really surprising to me. I would have thought that oil names would be monsters in the summer. But weakest performing months, May, June, July, and things start to ramp up into year's end. August, 52% win rate. And then September, October, 56%. November, December, 60%. On the unusual options side, what do we see? On August 25th, we got the 230 calls expiring January 2023. 14% of the open interest, $700,000 in premium. It's a big trade. For the 230 call, we're trading 265, so well in the money. On August 22nd, 240 calls, 77% of the open interest, $552,000 in premium. Another big trade. August 19th, 220 calls. So all in the money. All the big options orders here are all in the money. They're all expiring January 2023 or January 2024. This one's $610,000 in premium. So the biggest orders are all for price to continue higher. On the insider ownership side, not much happened in August. Looks like we had a little bit of selling in June. Quite a few awards in May, but again, the lack of selling to me speaks some volumes, right? Like we're into new all-time highs. We were hitting new all-time highs in June. So we did see a little bit of selling in June, and probably because we were into new all-time highs. But we're coming back into them now, and we don't see any selling. What does that tell you? What does that say? To me, it suggests there might be more upside here, which it's really kind of surprising to me. Like, this is not really what I anticipated gleaning from this conversation or from this deep dive here. PSX, Phillips 66, a little bit of a laggard. We've got the 2018 highs still to gain. We've got the 2019 highs still to gain. Don't have a ton of data here. 2012. Dang, look at you, Joe. I saw that before the Nightbot took it away. That's amazing, man. Good on you. That's a heck of an average. So PSX here. Where are we at on PSX? Same look. 2 down, 2 up on the month. We are, let's go to the weekly here and take a look at that 200-day or 50-week moving average. And every time we've come back into it now, it's gotten lighter and lighter, I guess, here and here, pretty similar, wicking down into it, but ultimately holding. And then the last time we came in and at the end of July there, nice hold and a bounce higher. So, clearly 200-day moving average doing its thing, price up and over it, but we've got some highs to contend with. Looks like in June we tried to go for those previous highs and we're not able to gain them. So that's interesting. That's maybe a little bit problematic. Let's look at seasonality. August, weakest month. Oh, no, second weakest month of the year. Looks like January is the weakest. And then you have July and August competing for second weakest month of the year. We see strength coming into the end of the year. 50% win rate in September and then 60% win rate for October, November, December. Interesting again. Let's go to unusual options and see what's going on with unusual options here. I'm just increasing the premium because I just want to know where the big money orders are. That's it. That's all I'm kind of interested in just for today. Because again, we're just trying to get an overall idea of what's going on with energy. So July 11th, and these contracts are a little bit old. Nothing really big coming in on this name recently. So that's kind of interesting to see. Of the players so far, PSX kind of seems like the least interesting between PSX and SLB, but SLB's got a bit more action on the unusual options side. Let's go back to... Yeah, so SLB, weakest month of the year is September. Interesting. So SLB and PSX are two that we want to kind of maybe keep our eye on a little bit since they're a little bit of the laggards. KMI, big laggard here. Ooh, like totally different look on this one. Let's go to the weekly and check out what's going on with the 200 SMA. Not holding as nicely as you'd like, but still trading up and over it. Trying to get back into the highs that were made in May. It's got a lot of work to do above, though. Got to anticipate these lows. This $23 low from August 2011. Probably going to be a little bit problematic. 23 to 25 bucks. Huge down move in 2015. This thing just has not really been able to recover. So that's kind of interesting. A little bit of a laggard here. Weakest month of the year. Second weakest month of the year is August. First weakest month is October. Comes into the end of the year strong with a 55% win rate, 64% win rate. And this is since 2011. So not as interested in this name. Definitely not nearly as strong as some of its counterparts. On the unusual options side, August 19th, let's see, what do we got here? These are all smaller trade sizes, 136,000 in premium. Looks to be about the average. We've got the $12 call, so that's in the money. January 2023 expiry. The $15 call, January 2023 expiry. And $17 call. This came in July. This one's not as interesting. On the insiders buying and selling, not much of either. A little bit of options expirations at the end of July. Looks like we had somebody selling towards the end of August, but nothing crazy. President terminals. I don't really know what that means. Sold $2,000 worth of stock, or 2,000 shares for $28,000. Absolutely, Trading IQ. Absolutely. I hope that this is interesting for you guys. This is just something that I genuinely am kind of curious about, and seemed like it would be fun to kind of do a whole show around this idea. All right, so WMB, this is the last name on the top 10 holdings list for the XLE, the Williams companies. Now, this guy is struggling a little bit as well, and it looks like it's currently struggling with the May 2000 highs. Hasn't come anywhere near its previous all-time highs made back in 2014, 2015, around $60. So it's a big spot here. And, if we look at this and then we go back to XLE, we see a lot of similarities, right? We see a high, we see a new high, and then we see a failure. So let's go back into WMB here. We see this looks kind of similar, right? But we are making higher lows, so that's interesting. Kind of got to assume this is going to break. Again, just like so many of the names that we've looked at here so far, 2 up, 2 down, or rather 2 down, 2 up reversal here. On the monthly time frame, we are definitely up and over that 200 SMA, and it's acting real nice around that 200 SMA, that 200 daily. This is the 50 week or the 200 day, same thing. On the seasonality side, now this one pretty strong in August. Historically pretty strong since 1972, and it really is pretty even across the board. If you look, your worst performing month is November. It's 48% win rate, still pretty decent. There aren't any super noticeable really poorly performing months, so that's interesting to note. This is one of the few names that does not see a really kind of dramatic increase in performance into year's end. Tends to stay pretty even keel across the year. Looks like April is its best performing month historically. On the unusual options side, the only big contract or the only big order I see here, August 24th, the 35 put for expiry September 16th. So it's like 2 weeks out. This is 13,462% of the open interest. You'll note that is a huge number. It's a very odd or not odd, but it's a very big percent of the open interest. Usually whenever I see those, it makes me kind of curious, like that is a very large size trade relative to what is common. So something to keep in mind. This came in on August 24th. We can go down the daily and look at where we were at on the 24th. Let's do that real quick just so that we know. Here's August 24th right here. So it made this huge move down in July, coming back, trying to retest those previous highs and failing below them. So this will be interesting to see if this plays out. And it doesn't look bad to me right here, so I don't know. It could have been somebody selling into that though too. I don't know. We'll have to see there. And then let's go to insiders. Doesn't really look like much has been going on here on the insiders. Saw a little bit of selling in early June and in early May. These were both big sells by two different folks. This is Debbie Cowan, Senior Vice President. And Terrence Wilson, SVP, General Counsel. Yeah, nothing really here. But again, not a ton of selling. So that's interesting. All right, so those are the 10 names, top 10 names in the XLE. And for the most part, they look dang good. You know, I mean, really, most of these names look wildly strong. And most of them kind of suggest that XLE's got plenty of, there's plenty of chance that XLE's going to continue to gain and keep pushing higher. So that's a surprise. You know, it's definitely not where my head has been at here over the past couple of weeks. Now we're going to go to XOP. And again, we know that XOP relative to XLE does not look nearly as strong. It looks quite weaker. So it's something to think about. We know that it looks quite weaker. We're going to go to the first name in the list. And that, my friends, is the name everybody is talking about, Oxy. Now, Oxy, for me as a price action guy, all I can see are lower highs and lower lows. I mean, Oxy is in a downtrend and has been in a downtrend for almost 11 years. Like, realistically speaking, this thing has been in a downtrend for 11 years. It's kind of crazy considering the amount of strength it's had, fueled, you know, quite in part by our good friend over at Berkshire Hathaway. But still in a downtrend. What does it need to not be in a downtrend anymore? Well, it needs to make some new highs. So it needs to get above this 86.38 level, you know, long term. That's what it really needs to do to not be in a downtrend anymore. So that's something to think about. Relative to its index, its XOP, you know, it looks very strong in comparison, but it actually has a lot of the same criteria going on. XOP's been in a downtrend since 2014, making lower highs, making lower lows. So it's kind of meeting that criteria. Now, as far as seasonality is concerned, we had our second weakest month in July. August tends to be 52%. And we're looking back to 1972 here. Weakest month of the year, December. It's a little bit outside of the norm in comparison to the other names that we've looked at so far. The other names that we've looked at so far, for the most part, tend to be strong into the year end. And Oxy tends to be quite weak. And we have lots of historical data to back that up. You're talking about 1972. You're talking about 50 years of data. It says December's the weakest month out of the year for Oxy. So I don't know what Uncle Warren's plan for Oxy is. I know he owns a huge amount of the company, or he owns a huge percentage of the company. A lot of shares, millions and millions, tens of millions of shares, but it does tend to be very, very weak in December, weaker than any other month. And there really isn't a ton of strength to look forward to either. You know, it looks like September, 51% win rate. October is historically kind of weak, 46% rather. November strong, 56%. And then December quite weak. So that's interesting. We go to the unusual options side. And of course, all we see is calls, and lots of them. 70 calls, 72 calls, 65 calls. The 70 call is interesting. These all came in, let's see, August 26th. My guess is this is the same buyer, just based on it's the same contract. 70 call, February of 2023 expiry. And we've got, I mean, this is lots of premium. $300,000, $300,000, $300,000, $300,000, $500,000, and so on. You're talking about probably about like, what, $5 million in premium spent here for these 70 calls on August 26th. Was that Friday? Today's the 29th? Is that right? Sometimes I get my days mixed up. Yeah, August 26th. So Friday. You got about $5 million spent on the January 2023 $70 calls. Well, those are paying today, I must say. trading 75 at 61, high of day $77. You know, even if they bought high a day on Friday, which they might have, at least to some degree. It looks like they DCA'd, but, you know, even still, we're trading up. We traded up $2 today. Those calls probably doing quite well. Going back to the monthly, though, again, we're still looking to try to get above those September 2018 highs. We're not above them. We are in a downtrend, technically, here on this name. This would be a reasonable place to start looking for shorts, you know? Like, that's where my head would be at here. I'm not saying it's a good idea. I'm just saying that's where my head would be at. If we go to the insiders, well, what do we see? Of course, Berkshire Hathaway buying zillions and zillions and zillions of dollars every day, or lots of days, not every day. Last big buy we saw from them was on August 8th, $32 million worth of shares. August 5th, they bought 98 million. August 4th, they bought 260 million. So these guys have billions invested. You know, what can I say? Warren's one of the greats. I wouldn't fade him, but it's interesting to see where we're at here. All right, so that's Oxy. Oxy historically performs weak on or in December. Weakest month of the year, December. That's a little bit different than the other names we've been looking at. Tellurian, TLL, looks not so great, right? Strongest performing month of the year on Tell is August. Into year's end, weakness. And it gets worse and worse kind of as we go. Well, not worse and worse, but it doesn't get good as we go. 44% win rate September, 48% win rate October, November 33, December 37. So I'm already developing some understanding here. Like, clearly XLE, if I want to go long energy, XLE would be probably the world that I'd be looking in, because clearly XLE is stronger for one, but also it tends to perform better coming into the months that we're coming into. Important notes to be taking in the back of your head. You know, this is why I'm doing this, to get some understanding. And this is the understanding that I'm getting here. So on Tell, T-E-L-L, looks like we've got on the larger option side, lots of calls, no big orders on the put side. $4 calls, $4 calls, $1.50 calls, $4 calls. Looks like December 2022 expiry, January 2024 expiry, October 2022. Some bigger orders here. Biggest one is this $1.50 call. December expiry, $247,000 worth of premium. Let's check and see what the insiders are doing here. They're being awarded stuff in June. They're not selling. They're not buying. Simple as that. They're sitting on their hands. That tells us stuff. DEN, Denbury. Well, Denbury is a little bit of a change of pace. All new highs, all-time highs this month were made. Hasn't been around very long, so we don't have a ton of data. This thing's only been around since 2022. August, 100% win rate in August. That's interesting. 0% win rate September. Weakest month of the year, September. Again, we only have 2 years worth of data, so it doesn't tell us that much. But something to note, on the unusual options side, what do we got? $90 puts for January 23 expiry. We have the $100 call for April 23 expiry. The April call is a little bit bigger premium-wise. Neither of these are that big, about $100,000 each. And then we have a $75 call for October this year. This thing is making new all-time highs, though. Hard to fade something that's making new all-time highs, simply. But again, we don't have a ton of historical data. On the insider trading, not much to see here. No buying, no selling, just awarding shares. So at least they're holding what they're being awarded. EQT. EQT looking kind of similar to our XLE chart. You have those 2008 highs, 2014 highs. Again, we just draw a line from the 2018 highs. And we see that there initially was a reaction back in April. We did get rejected. But they have since gained, and they are pushing higher here, making new several year highs at the very least, since looks like 2015. Yeah, 2015. Making new highs against 2015 high. Probably going to find its way back into those previous all-time highs around $59. You have to kind of assume that's where it's looking to go. So EQT, strong in comparison to its comrades here in the XOP list. The top 10 names on the XOP list, this EQT looking relatively strong in comparison. Of course, Oxy as well, another one that's looking relatively strong in comparison. But I would argue EQT looks a little bit better than Oxy to my eye. If we go to seasonality, how does seasonality look? This month tends to perform all right. We're coming into two more strong months, September, October, both quite strong, 59% and 60%. And then we see November, quite weak, 34%. Weakest month of the year for EQT is November, and this is going back about 50 years. So kind of interesting to know. Coming into, we've got 2 months, about 2 months away from what is historically the weakest month of the year. On the unusual options side, let's go to some big premiums here, see what's going on there. Quite a few big trades here on EQT. This one is a popular one, clearly. $60 call. This came in on August 24th. Expires January 2023. About 3 million. Oh no, 2 million in premium for the $60 call. We're trading $50, so these are out of the money. Looks like most of the big calls are out of the money too. They're all either January 23 or January 24 expiry. But we've got a 65 call. Actually, it looks like this might be a sweep. Yep, it is. So this is like a $10-12 million trade here for well, I'm sorry, for the January 2024 call. This is like a $8 million trade. $65 call, January 2024. This came in August 18th, August 16th. About 16% of the open interest. Let's go look at the daily and see what things were looking like on August 18th here. August 18th. I mean, it was strong. It was coming up into those previous highs. Interesting. So this one's looking pretty good. EQT. Let's check the insiders. No selling. No selling. No buying, but no selling either. Let's check CRK is the next name on this list. CRK also looking... Ooh, monthly looks pretty rough. Let's go to the weekly here. Get a little bit better idea. Wow, crazy. What a move. So in this instance, I'm going to throw up log scale, just kind of see where we're at. So we are at relative, you know, how many years highs? 7-year highs here. Holding that 200-day moving average really nicely. This is a common theme we've seen. Moves back into the 200-day SMA for the most part have been getting bought up nicely on energy names. CRK, strongest month of the year is April. Looks like August is somewhere around the middle, 58%. So historically a pretty strong month. Coming into weakness though, November, 32%. This is common. This is something that we've seen quite a bit now on these names in XOP. Coming into the end of the year, let's not forget. I'm going to keep on repeating this stuff, and I'm really doing this just for me because I need to try and remember. But I want to remind myself of common themes. You know, when I'm doing this sort of analysis, I want to be reminding myself of common themes that I'm noticing. On XLE, we saw that August tend to be quite weak. We saw that coming into the end of the year, those months tend to be quite strong. On XOP here, we're seeing something totally different. We're seeing that this time of the year does tend to be relatively strong, and then we see weakness around November. So something to consider, again, if you're thinking about where you want to be positioning yourself energy-wise. You know, XLE is kind of still holding on to what to me seems like the better place to be putting some money to work. On the unusual options side, Going to big premiums here. Not much there. Let's pull this down a little bit. Yep, not much here. $16 puts. This was purchased on August 22nd, March 16p, March 2023. Looks like about 3,000% of the open interest, $700,000 in premium. August 22nd. Let's see what was going on August 22nd. August 22nd, coming into those highs. So this person is getting their head chopped off right now. They've got plenty of time. They're looking at March 2023. So they've got 6 months, or 7 months, something like that. 8 months? What is it? September, October, November, December. 7 months. But right now they're getting their head chopped off. So that's interesting. Maybe they could have been selling them. Maybe they weren't buying them. Maybe they were selling them. Something to consider. Coming into those previous highs. Not surprised to see somebody trying to short that. Okay. Let's check out insiders. What are the insiders doing? Not a whole heck of a lot. We got one insider, Whitney Ward, the VP of Marketing. She sold 27,000 shares just the other day on Friday. So VP Marketing, doing a little bit of selling. Big deal? I don't know. Not really. VP Marketing, maybe she's buying a new house or something. Either way, quite strong on the daily here. Weekly, coming into 7-year highs. Lots of room to go higher if this thing wants to. Not saying it will, but plenty of room for it to trade higher. All right, CLR, next one. Ooh, hold on. Let's look at this. Trading IQ. Yeah, you're for sure. Tons of volume. Tons of volume. Trading IQ highlighting the fact that we got a ton of volume here, relatively speaking, over the past, you know, like two-ish, 2.5 years, something like that. Definitely something to keep in mind there. CLR. CLR, huge move off of its lows. And really looks like it's setting up to test those all-time highs there. August 2014, one of the strongest looking names of the bunch so far. CLR here, gaining its 2018 highs and looking for its 2014 highs next, presumably. Now we look at the months of the year and how does this thing perform? Well, July, we're coming off of the weakest performing month of the year in July. How did July look this year? Green, quite strong. This month, 50% win rate. Next month, second strongest performing month of the year, 67% win rate. Again, we see a little bit of dip around October, 47%, and then we see strength into the end of the year here. So this is a little bit of an outlier in comparison to the group, the XOP group that we've gone over so far, as it tends to be stronger into year's end. We don't have as much historical data here, just 2017. Excuse me. Let's go to unusual options. See how those bad boys look. $75 calls for September 16 expiry. All right, so these are expiring in a week and a half, or well, 2 weeks rather, 2 weeks. 550 in premium. These were purchased on August 18th, so we don't really know. August 18th. They were purchased on a strong day, but this thing was trading $70 at the highs that particular day. We're trading 72 and a quarter now. $75 calls. It's a tricky one. All in all, though, looking super strong. I like that it's making new highs, and it has made relative new highs since 2015. This is not what we see over on Oxy, right? Remember, Oxy not making new highs, hasn't been making new highs in many, many years. It's been making lower highs over the past decade. Whereas CLR, been making new highs, at least since 2015. We still have these 2014 highs to contend with. And my guess would be that we'll find our way there eventually. On the insider side, we have a little bit of selling but not much. Looks like not since April. So that's a common theme across all of these names. Very few insiders selling now, but there were more insiders selling on the XLE names. That's for sure, than these XOP names. So that's kind of interesting too. Again, we're just trying to understand. We're just trying to build a general thesis. What can we expect from energy in the coming months? That's really what this analysis is all about. Range Resources, the next name in our XOP list. This one meets more the normal XOP criteria. This month does okay, 47% win rate since 1992. However, October, November, weakest months of the year. On the unusual options side, whoa, what is that? August 22nd, $40 calls for October 21st, expiry 50,000% of the open interest, a $525,000 trade. For the $40 call, October 21st of this year, expiry. They bought these on October 22nd. Right here. That's a big bet. And not just financially a big bet, $500,000, but this open interest, 50,000% of the open interest. That is a lot. That is a very, very outside of the ordinary percentage, right? So what does that tell us? Well, the first thing I note is that it was coming into the previous highs and it got rejected. Could this be somebody selling calls into those previous highs? Absolutely could be. Absolutely could be. And they could have sold these things the very next day, or they could have bought them back the very next day. You had a big down day the next day. Maybe they were playing that rejection. It's certainly possible. I'm not saying that's what they did because I don't know, but it's certainly possible. On the insider side, what do we got? We got one seller. Regional Spiller. Spiller Regional. I don't know what that is, but they're a director and they sold 2,000 shares worth $50,000. So not much to see here in that regard. Okay. Let's keep moving. What's next? TPL, Texas Pacific Land Corp. We're going to go to the monthly here on TPL. What a monster. Absolute monster. Trading new all-time highs this month. Go to the weekly here. This thing, it's loosely respecting its 200-day moving average. Not super nice. Not as clean as you would like to see, or not as clean as we've seen on quite a few of these other names, but still respecting, making new all-time highs. Wildly, wildly strong name, this particular name, but we're coming into weak months. September, weakest performing month of the year historically since 1972. 37% win rate. It increases coming into the end of the year, but still relatively weak. On the options, no options available for this one. On the insider side, now that is interesting. Lots of buying here from Mr. Murray Stahl, the director. He's not spending a ton of money, but this thing is trading at $2,000 a share. So, you know, he's buying a little bit here and there pretty much every single day. Spending about 40 G's a day here on his company stock. And remember, what did we talk about earlier? There are many reasons why insiders sell stock, but there is generally only one reason why an insider buys. And that is because they think the stock is going to go up. This is a monster stock here. Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Going to put a little tag next to it. We're going to go to Devon here. So a couple of you guys mentioned Devon early on. Let's take a look at Devon and see what's going on with Devon Energy. Now, Devon, coming into those old highs, 2014 highs, and getting rejected initially, but it looks like it's ready to try and make a move higher, in my opinion. Gets rejected, finds support, bounces, coming back into the previous highs from May. And this thing's setting up. It just looks like it's setting up for higher. So then your next step would be the 2011 highs here around $92. Let's see if we can confirm some of these ideas on seasonality. On seasonality, we're looking back to 1998. 54% win rate in August, followed by a 65% win rate in September. So this thing gets stronger into the end of the year. That is out of the ordinary for these XOP names. Something to keep note of, maybe part and parcel in why you guys are talking about it. You know, it's clearly a leader of this group of 10. On the unusual option side, we go to the premiums. We increase the premiums, and we see what we've got going on here. It looks like a couple days ago, we had some $50 calls come in for September 16. $85 call for January 2024 is $600,000 in premium. Pretty decent sized trade. We also, though, have the 90 puts. Pretty big trade, January 2023 expiry. So it's a little bit mixed here on the unusual options side. Mostly calls, though. $70 call, $85 call, $50 call. The $50 call way in the money, but these expire in 2 weeks. Actually, the $70 call expires in 2 weeks too. But we've got a 85 call leap and a 90 put leap for January 2023. Interesting. Doesn't look bad. What are the insiders doing here? Well, not much since July. Looks like we had a little bit of selling in July and June. Nothing in August. So that's interesting to note. Let's go to Hess. What's up with Hess? Hess coming for the all-time highs here. Initial test of those all-time highs back in May was rejected. But like we've seen on almost every single chart that we've looked at so far, past 2 months, super strong reversal, 2 down, 2 up reversal on the monthly. Kalon, no problem at all. I'm so glad that this is working out for you. I'm so glad you're enjoying it. That's tight. Yeah, so coming into new monthly highs, coming into all-time highs, looks like it's darn well ready for them, if you ask me. Now on the right-hand side, seasonality, 58% win rate in August. Again, keeping that pattern. August tending to be a little bit stronger here on these XOP names, and a little bit of weakness coming into the end of the year, October being the weakest month of the year. So that's interesting to note. On the unusual option side, let's see what's going on there. Let's pull this down a little bit. What do we got? 125 puts. Expiry in a couple of weeks. 1,000% of the open interest. $3.2 million in premium for the 125 put. This came in, when did this come in? This came in July 6th. Huh. Oh, so this, to me, this is a prime example of somebody selling these things. I mean, they sold, well, we don't know, but 125 puts, July 6th, 1,000% of the open interest, $3.2 million in premium, and they bought these at a new low? I don't know. I don't think that's what happened. I think that they were selling these things. So that's my guess here with this particular trade. They were selling them. That's a big bet. On the right-hand side, we look at the insiders, and we do have a little bit of insider selling here. This is not the norm for the XOP names. Senior Vice President sold $1.5 million worth of shares just Thursday. Senior Vice President, a different Senior Vice President, also sold 1.9 million in shares last Wednesday. And then the President and COO, looks like he sold 1.2 million in shares August 18th. So we've got some higher ups here selling. We saw them selling as well, looks like in April and March. Now this could just be salary. It's possible. All right, so that's it. 20 symbols, all of the top 10 symbols in XLE. They take up 76% of all of the XLE's holdings are in these top 10 names. And these are the top 10 names right here. XOM, CVX, COP, EOG, SLB, MPC, PXD, PSX, KMI, and WMB. And what did we learn about those names? Well, we learned that September tends to be pretty dang weak. We also learned that into the end of the year, these names tend to be stronger. They find strength coming into December. Generally, October, November, December, increasing in strength. So you've got XLE that's got names that are quite overperforming. XOM making close to new highs. CVX, actually, let me go to the weekly time frames here. XOM making new all-time highs, or close to new all-time highs. CVX making all-time highs. COP making all-time highs. EOG making all-time highs just within the past couple of months. MPC making all-time highs. PXD making all-time highs. And you've got these names making all-time highs into essentially in the weakest historical month of the year for most of them. That's interesting. That's unexpected. It's not what I thought I would find. If they can make all-time highs into historically super weak months, and we're talking about, in some cases, 50 years worth of data. If they can make all-time highs into historically weak months, what can they do with more wind at their back? Historically strong months. Can they do better than that? I mean, I would think yes, right? Would you think yes? If we look at XOP, one of the most popular names in XOP is OXY. Everybody's talking about it. Well, OXY tends to perform weakly coming into the end of the year. 46% win rate October. December, weakest month of the year on Oxy. Also, Oxy's in a downtrend. So Warren knows something that we don't know. I mean, you got to assume he's buying so much of this. You got to assume he knows something we don't know. But this thing has been weak in comparison to some of its other names, you know? Now the question is where do you take the trade, right? Well, just from the looks of the charts, I mean, I kind of feel like XLE is the way to go. Names that are in XLE. That's just my gut instinct. XLE is his historical poor performance this time of the year. Tends to get strong into the end of the year. XOP, it's a little bit different. We're just looking at seasonality over here. Take a look at it. I'm just going to flip back and forth. Look at XLE. Look at XOP. Yeah, September's good for XOP historically. Let's see how far back we can go. Yeah, 2006 here. September's good. October is okay. November's and December's okay. XLE though, we're increasing into the end of the year. Strongest period of the year, really. 65% win rate in December on XLE. And with so many symbols, or with, you know, a decent handful of symbols in, a decent handful of the biggest symbols in XLE breaking out into new all-time highs, you got CVX, you got COP, you got EOG, you got MPC, you got PXD. 5 out of 10, half of them are making new all-time highs, and or have made new all-time highs recently. That's interesting. If we go to XOP, let's see how many are new all-time highs. We got 1, 2, almost 3. So I think my focus would be on XLE. If I had to. If I had to focus on one. And maybe I'd be looking for a laggard. Maybe. Not necessarily. Maybe I would just play the index. This SLB is kind of interesting. I don't know. But I just wanted to do that. I just wanted to go through all that because I think it's important to try and educate myself as much as I can about these sorts of things, especially when it comes to something that I really don't know very much about. I clearly don't know very much about energy. But this is all very enlightening stuff for me, you know? This is all really kind of illuminating. And it makes me think differently about what to expect going forward. You know, coming into this, I definitely have been thinking, with the amount I've been hearing about energy, I've definitely been thinking, wow, energy is going to totally fall off a cliff here soon, just because people will not stop talking about it. And generally speaking, when the people won't stop talking about something, it's usually around the time when the party ends. But the more I look at it, the more I think there's quite more potential here. What do you guys think? What did you guys glean from all of that? Any particular insights that you gained? If there's anything, please let me know in the chat. I would love to know. I feel like we've spent enough time on energy here. I've got about a half hour left, so I'm happy to now talk about anything y'all want to talk about. I know we had some questions. Let me go back and kind of look through chat here and just see. Alex, you mentioned USO at the beginning. We didn't go over USO. USO historically stronger into the end of the year. Historically kind of weak in August. Its weakest month is January. On the premium side, let's see if we see anything interesting here. The 100 calls expiring January 2024. 1.1 million in premium, 396% of the open interest. This came in August 19th, the 100 call. That's a big leap. No insiders for USO because I believe this is just a fund. Excuse me. But definitely more bullish positioning than bearish positioning. Stronger bullish positioning than bearish positioning. I'm just going back and reading. Jamie, URA. I'll definitely take a look at VIST. Let's look at URA real quick because I do know that uranium has been a huge mover today. All right, so URA, let's look at seasonality first. Going back to 2010, 42% win rate August, decreases into October, but then November, December tend to be quite strong. So that's something. Does look like most of the positioning on the unusual option side is bullish. If we go into some of the bigger trades, see here, today the 21 call for September 2nd expiry, that's this Friday. 21 call, 1,200% of the open interest, $200,000 trade. $22 call for October 21st of this year. Yeah, so all of the money, all of the bigger money was positioned in calls for URA. So we did hold, let's see here. This is your 200-day moving average, so we're kind of tinkering around with that 200-day moving average right now. Initially, looks like it found some resistance there in June. Wouldn't be shocked to see this gain now. What have we done? I mean, we've made a higher low. Came and back tested the lows off the high. We're holding them. Anchored VWAP off of the weekly high here. This is the November 8th, 2021 high. Anchored VWAP off that high. We're coming right into it right now. So, I mean, you do have quite a bit of resistance here. You know, right off the top, to me, this doesn't represent the best time in the world to be going long. Long into the 200 SMA, long into the anchored VWAP from near-term high. To me, it's a bit difficult of a spot to go long. Like, this would be a profit-taking spot. That doesn't mean that it'll stay that way. Pretty big move over the past 4 sessions, huh? Yeah, so I mean, for me, because this would be a profit-taking spot, you know, I would kind of want to see price gain and come back and test and hold. So that's kind of where my head would be at on it. May not be what you want to hear. I know a lot of people probably went long uranium today. I have a feeling a lot of people went long uranium today. Just so many people on my timeline were talking about it. But if you can gain, if you can get up and over and then come back and test and hold, that'd be nice to see. You do have an important level kind of in here, 27, 26 and 3/4, kind of where we lost those highs. So it could definitely gain back up to 26, 26.76. Might see some resistance there if it does continue to gain. I mean, overall, it looks like it's setting up pretty nicely. It just could take some time to play out. Because you're technically in a downtrend. You're flagging out. Actually, let's use the auto trends here. Yeah. So I'm just using the auto trends to kind of ooh, this is even better. To highlight specifically that. So you're making a higher low, right? Longer term, you're in an uptrend. Longer term. But in the shorter term, you're kind of in a downtrend. You're making lower highs here. So you really need to kind of break out, back test, and then make another move. So this might take a little while to come to fruition. I don't know. It depends on what happens with uranium. Other things could happen with uranium that I'm not aware of. VIST, V-I-S-T, VIST Energy. Actually, you know, I noticed, is this a South American company? Trading IQ? I noticed that South American companies, when I was digging through a bunch of energy names earlier, I noticed South American energy companies were all doing very, very well. I mean, clearly this thing looks like it's ready to go try and make new highs, all-time highs in July at $11.10. Let's look at seasonality real quick and just see. Historically, August, very, very poor performance. Actually, weakest month of the year, historically. Followed by a strong month, 67% win rate in September. That is a monster move off of those lows. So now you just want to see this stuff hold. You know. I mean, I'd kind of be looking around in here, $9. Maybe get one back test in. If this is real, though, they'll probably just hold these highs. Yeah, but all in all, looks great. You know, super strong. When are earnings? All right, earnings, just had them in July, so you've got some time there. Yeah, interesting. Engages in the exploration and production of oil and gas in Latin America. Yeah, if you look, if you use one of our, like if you use our energy scan or energy list, this is just standard in all TrendSpider accounts, just a basic energy list. And then you filter by percentage change. Filter it at the top, and you'll see a handful of, or at least I thought I did, a handful of SA, Latin America, South American names that were towards the top of this list. At least they were earlier. My God, look at this. This was one that I saw. YPF Sociedad Anonima. Absolute monster off the lows. Kind of in the same, same like huge move off of those lows. BMY. Bristol Myers. Ooh. Yikes. Failing below 200-day moving average today. Well, that's pretty ugly, Joe. Is PFE in the same boat? PFE not looking good. Looking like it's ready to fall off a cliff. GSK also looking quite rough. Wow. What's GSK do? Better question. Why did all of these names fail so bad today? Is GSK in the same space as Bristol Myers and Pfizer? Toothpaste. Yeah, I mean, it's not the type of not the type of thing you want to see if you're long. Failing below the anchored VWAP from those relative lows, the November 2021 lows. No bueno. Where could it land? Yeah, and failing below those previous highs too. Ooh. That's pretty nasty, Joe. It is pretty nasty. I mean, that 69-ish area, not a level you want to see them lose. It's been a big spot. You can see it. I mean, this area in here is a big spot. Huge level of resistance over the years. They gained it here and just nosedive. Do you think we get a repeat of that? It kind of looks pretty similar, doesn't it? A little oopsie-daisy up and over, and then just a huge failure. That's what this looks like the start of. That is not great. They did manage to make a new high. Is it something? But I would wonder, I mean, what caused this? Actually, let's look. So I'm going to remove some of this stuff. I'm going to add news, not notes. Add news. Bristol Myers shares traded lower Monday after the company announced, in collaboration with Janssen Pharmaceuticals, that the results from the phase 2 Axiomatic SSP dose ranging study did not achieve the primary endpoint. So what was this for? Axiomatic SSP. Yeah, what was it? What was it? What was the purpose of this study? What were they trying to cure here? I mean, it looks really problematic for sure. You know, this area in here could come into play somewhere in around 6250, 63-ish, somewhere in there. Like that could come into play. This 59.5. Some crazy, well, thankfully, you don't some crazy disease you don't have, thank God. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't touch this. But maybe what I would consider trying is a short opportunity if they try and gain it. Ah, Jack. He's my buddy. We like Jack. He's a good guy. Maybe if they come back in, if they try and bounce it, then we might look for some shorts. That would be interesting. Let's just do that. Let's create a little alert. One of my absolute favorite things about TrendSpider. It's such a simple little thing. But these alerts, create alerts where we want them, set them, forget them, and move on. Don't even have to look at this thing. But if that alert goes off, I know what's up. Oh, Trading IQ, AMPS. I saw this. Yeah, this thing's been a monster. Up and over previous highs, trying to find support, but kind of failing. Nice little inverse head and shoulders thing going on here on the daily. Could still pull back some. Back into those old highs, 10.5 bucks. It's a pretty big move. And now that they've made the new high and they did it so quickly, exhaustion risk could pull back. So, you know, you look for, well, I always do this. I always do, whenever it's a newer name, always want to know where the anchored VWAP off the IPO is. That puts us at 877. Definitely a spot that I see. You know, that kind of neckline area. Kind of in here for a pullback. And then those previous highs for a pullback, 1039. Don't know what caused this to do this. Let's see if we can see. Looks like they beat on their earnings 2 weeks ago. Yeah, it looks good. Just maybe a little extended, but we'll see if it holds at these previous highs. 10.5 bucks. Let's see. Japan's policy shift regarding nuclear has made a huge shift. Ah. Talk to us about Japan's policy shift. According to Kishida, Japan aims to restart 7 more reactors for next summer. Oh, this would increase the total number of reactors online to 17 out of the 33 operable reactors. So that's kind of a change of trend, right? To restart reactors where you've got countries like Germany are shutting them down. Jamie, don't get discouraged on URA, man. Just because it's a trade I wouldn't necessarily take doesn't mean it's not going to work. I mean, a huge day today. And volume confirming as well. You closed up and over that anchored VWAP, which is a good sign. Did we gain this high? Didn't quite gain the high. Yeah, look for them to try and gain these highs tomorrow. They might even gap up into them. Like somewhere around 24 and change. Maybe a buck. I could see them do that. because you closed almost at the highs of the day. You had huge volume. You had light volume on the sell-off past couple days. I think you'll probably get the move you're looking for, Jamie. I'm rooting for you. I'm going to add it to my close watch. All right, so we are coming into the final minutes of the show. Because we are coming into the final minutes of the show, it is now housekeeping time, and I'm going to hit you guys with a handful of items. First. We've got a Discord. TrendSpider's got a Discord. It's right there. Join us in the Discord. Come say good game. Come hang out. Meet other TrendSpider users. Share ideas. Share your charts. You can even share scans back and forth if you want to. Next one. Let me find it. Hold on. It's coming. I'm going to find it. I need to go to my pinned. Hold on. Next one. Are you a TrendSpider user? If you are, you rule. We appreciate you. If you are not a TrendSpider user, however, now is your time. Now is your chance. Here's a discount. 25% off. Any plan of your choice. We'd love to have you on the platform. You saw what I was doing today. TrendSpider is more than just charts. I know nothing about energy, and I just gleaned a ton of information about what's going on in energy without looking really at the charts. I mean, I was looking at the charts because I'm going to look at charts on TrendSpider, but also seasonality, unusual options data, insider buying and selling data. These are all huge tools that are very helpful in helping us understand what the heck is going on in these crazy markets. If you're looking for some edge, add TrendSpider to your toolkit. Use that code, 25% off any plan of your choice. Next up, did you enjoy this show? If you did enjoy this show, come hang out with me again. There's my Google Calendar. I would love to see you here. I'm happy to hang out with you guys anytime. We usually do these on Mondays and Wednesdays. Sometimes we do them on Fridays. Monday and Wednesday, 2:30 to 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. And again, sometimes on Fridays. And we're going to be loose with this too. We're learning how to do these live streams. We're learning what works, what doesn't work. We want to hear from you guys, what you like about it, what you don't like about it, what you'd like to see us cover. You know, if you've got ideas for like big topics you'd like me to go over, hit me with them. My Twitter is right there at Krutzky Trades. Follow me. Shoot me a message. If you've got questions about TrendSpider, I'm happy to answer them. I'm around all the time. Hit me up. Shoot me a DM. Whatever you want. Whatever's best for you. I'm happy to help. Mark, I'm so glad you're enjoying TrendSpider. Since you're new, if you're finding this to be a steep curve, I want you to know there are a couple of things that are available to you at all times, or pretty much at all times. Down here in the bottom right-hand corner where it says contact us, this is a direct feed into our employee chat room. We have live employees in chat Monday through Friday, about 20 hours per day, Saturday and Sunday, about 8 hours per day. You're always welcome to hit us up here with any questions that you have, platform related. Send them along here and they'll usually respond to you very, very quickly. This is what I did for the first 2 years working at this company. I was in here answering questions all day. So I can vouch for this team. They're a bunch of great dudes, and they'll be happy to help you with any questions that you have. Don't hesitate to reach out to them. Doesn't matter the question. Doesn't matter if you think it's super simple. Hit them up. They will help. Up here where you have your name, if you click on that and scroll down to where it says schedule training, Lolly, we didn't get to it. Lolly, let's talk about this. Lolly, are you on Twitter? If you are, follow me and hit me up with a question because I've got to run. But I'd love to help you out with this. Mark, back to you real quick. Click on your name, scroll down to where it says schedule training. You won't see it on my side, but you will see it on yours. If you ever want to do a one-on-one training session with some of the guys that are there in chat answering questions, you can sign up for one anytime. We offer them Monday through Sunday. They are free. Help yourself to them. If you need some training, you need some additional assistance, sign up for a one-on-one training session. Those guys are there to help you. And I'm here to help you too. So you're always welcome to come to these live streams and ask any questions that you want. What else? Other things. Twitter Spaces. Tomorrow night, we have a Twitter Space. Lolly, you're not on Twitter. All right, Lolly. No. Hit me with exactly what you're looking for. Hit me with what you're looking for, and I can build something and I can send it to you. How about that? Because I do have to run, and I want to help you. So hit me with what specifically you're looking for. You're looking for relative strength. You mentioned also the strat. Were there specific like strat patterns you were looking for? I mean, we could talk through things very, very quickly, but I would prefer to like get you something. Are you on Discord also? If you're in our Discord, you want to see what does not sell off when the market sells off. Perfect. All right. Well, hang tight for 1 minute. Tomorrow night on Twitter Spaces, 8 p.m. Eastern time, we're going to be going over the trade ideas of the week with some of our favorite traders. We're going to have Real Pristine Cap. We're going to have Brand Keo. We're going to have Stock Swing Alert. Tomorrow night on Twitter, 8 p.m. Eastern time, these guys are going to be bringing us 2 trade ideas each, their favorite trade ideas for the week. If you're on Twitter, join in. We'd love to have you there. And then on Thursday, can't wait for Thursday. Thursday night, live charting show with the one, the only Miss Sarah, the Strat Sniper. We love her. She's the best. She's going to be on the show on Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern time, right here on TrendSpider TV. So please join us for that. Bring your chart questions that you have, or bring your tickers that you want Sarah to go over, and we'll be going over them with her. Wednesday, my live stream on Wednesday is going to be focused on monthly candles. We've got new monthly candles, fresh out the fryer, monthly candles closing on Wednesday. So we're going to be taking a deep dive into all of the names that are popular across FinTwit, across the investing world. And we're going to be looking at the monthlies and seeing how the monthlies are doing. So if you're looking for trade ideas on the 5-minute time frame on Wednesday, you have to look somewhere else. We're talking monthlies on Wednesday because it's monthly candle day. This is JC Peretz's favorite day of the year, or favorite day of the month. He's got 12 favorite days of the year, and it's when the monthly candles close. It's a big deal. So that's what we're going to be focused on Wednesdays. So, or rather on Wednesday, this Wednesday. So yeah, so that is what's going on with me. That is everything that you need to know for the week to come, what I'm going to be doing. If you guys need to hit me up, like I said, hit me up on Twitter. And let's do this real quick before we get out of here. We're looking for relative strength, Lolly. We're looking for relative strength. We want to see stocks that are beating the overall market. So stocks that are beating the relative overall market is a little bit difficult. When you say the overall market, do you have a specific thing that you're referring to? You're just looking for relative strength, right? Can be defined all kinds of different ways. You could say things like, one very simple thing. First thing comes to mind. Price close, greater than, indicator, daily, simple moving average. Make it a 200. We all good and well know that when price is above the 200-day moving average, generally things are considered a little bit more bullish, right? When price is below that 200 SMA, that 200 SMA is just a nice line in the sand for many people. You know, some people pay attention to it, or some people don't pay attention to it, but lots of people do. It's a huge bellwether. So by simply defining that price is above a 200-day moving average, that's going to get rid of a bunch of names for you, right? Now, when it comes to RSI, do you have a specific RSI level that you're looking for? Are you looking for RSI increasing over a period of time? Are you looking for RSI above just the minimum level for a period of time? You can do a lot of different things. I'll just show you a couple of different ways that you could think about this. So for example, you could say monthly RSI is greater than a constant value of 70, right? Maybe less than 70, not oversold, less than 70. Less than 70. Don't you want it to be above 70? If you're looking for relative strength, don't you want it to be strong? You mean not overbought? Just want to make sure I understand exactly what you're looking for here. You want to see it above. Yeah. Right. Okay. So what we could do is we could define that it's above 70, and we can actually define that for as many months as we want to, right? We could say monthly RSI greater than a constant value of 70. If you want to define a different month, you can define the candle that you're referring to by clicking right here where it says last. So last, when you click on that, it comes up with 0 candles ago. So last and 0 candles ago are the same thing, and they represent the current candle. So if you want to define that RSI has been above 70 for the past 3 months, you would just use 3 parameters. You would define it as above 70 on the current candle. You'd come here and change this to 1 candle ago. And then you could do it again and say indicator monthly RSI greater than a constant value of 70. Make this 2 candles ago. Right, so now we got price above the 200-day moving average, and RSI has been above 70 for the past 3 months. I mean, that's going to weed out a ton of stuff. Let's just see what comes up. I'm just going to pick the NYSE. When you scan for this, you want to scan with the current candle toggled on because you want to be looking at the current candle that's forming. So we'll scan with the current candle toggled on. We're scanning the NYSE, and we're looking for relative strength. What comes up? MCK comes up. There's a lot of stuff drawn on here, so don't mind all of that stuff that's drawn. AZO comes up. MN comes up. FLNG. HRB. CEIX. So you can see there's quite a few names here that are coming up. Right? We've got, you know, a lot of different looks though. And so this is where things start getting a little bit more specific, where we almost need to know maybe just a little bit more about your strategy. Are you looking for something that recently made a new high? Are you looking for something that's pulling back? Are you looking for, you know, like what? I know you're looking for strength, but then from there, how do you play that strength, you know? If you can then define some of that stuff, like for example, one way to define a pullback, we could say price maybe touched the 10 SMA within the past couple of candles, or the 20 SMA within the past couple of candles, right? And since we're saying within the past couple of candles, we have to define it differently because maybe it touched the 20 SMA like 4 candles ago, or 5 candles ago, or 3 candles ago, or 2 candles ago, or something, you know? I don't know exactly what your idea is, but again, just kind of go with me on this. We've got these 4, and they're all defined as all of the following. If we want to define a set of criteria a different way, we have to use a different group. To create a different group, we click Add Parameter, and we choose Condition Group. And so now I can define something else. So I can say indicator, I'll say daily, I'll say simple moving average. We'll do the 20, and I'll say prices touched it, and I'll give it a buffer area of like 50 cents, right? I'm going to create a couple of these. So I'm going to say indicator, daily, simple moving average, 20, prices touched it, 50 cents. So just go with me again. Daily, simple moving average, 20. Prices touched it within 50 cents. And now we want to define this as having occurred like maybe over the past couple of candles, right? Maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe 4. And then we're going to change this to any of the following. So now what we've just defined is we're saying right now on the current candle, price is above the 200 SMA. And for the past 3 months, RSI has been above 70. That's your strength. And then down here in this condition group, we're saying that either 2 candles ago, 3 candles ago, or 4 candles ago, price touched the 20 SMA. So maybe in theory, we're looking for a pullback to the 20 SMA. Right? We know that this thing's strong, but maybe we're looking for a move back. And we could define it in 100 different ways, but and this doesn't even necessarily define that we're going to get that pullback, but we're just looking for other ways to like whittle down what specifically we're looking for. Because obviously our strength scan didn't pull up a ton of names. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 names. So not a ton of names. You can pretty quickly look through those and go, yeah, of those, I like this one. But if this scan yielded like 100 names, then you would really want to define more, right? Because you have too many names, there's too much data there, there's too much information, and it's the whole purpose of scanning is to make your life simpler, right? It's to whittle down and only get very specific symbols sent to you. So think about that when you're creating these sorts of scans. What I'm going to do, I'm going to remove this for now, and I'm going to send this to you. Lolly strength scan. I appreciate you reminding me, Lolly. Thank you. So it's going to run this scan real quick one more time. And then once it runs the scan, I'll get a link to you so that you have it. And then what I would do if I were you is I would play around with this. Maybe you don't need RSI above 70. Maybe you just need RSI above 50. Maybe you don't need it on the monthly. Maybe you just need it on the weekly. I don't really know. But like you said, I'm highlighting how you can be thinking further about the stocks that you're looking for. Just being able to say, I like to buy strong stocks, but I like to buy the pullback. Like, just if that's your style, then you can define some of that pullback stuff. If you like to buy the breakout, you can define the breakout stuff. It's just defining it. It's just knowing, you know? So here's a link to that scan. Click on that link. It's going to bring you to a page that says like, what does it say? Actually, let me just go to the page myself. It says login and import and then subscribe. And what I would do if I were you is I would save a copy of it for yourself so that you can then edit it to whatever you want. Change the time frames, change the scan through lists, yada, yada. Real quick, Michael Anthony, CPG, which is energy with a book value of 11.86, which goes up each time they report earnings, looks better than Oxy when you compare the book value and PE and dividends. PED is oil, which beat on earnings, which has over 24 million in cash and no debt. Last Friday, 3 insiders bought shares. Should climb 150 to 224. You can't see any of them. What can you not see, Michael? We can go to CPG real quick. Take a quick look. Oh, looks like I've looked at this one before. CPG, relatively strong into September. Starts fading in November, so be mindful of that. Weakness in November. Kind of a very odd move back in May. But looks like it's finding its footing at the 200-day moving average, as many of these oil names have been. So yeah, certainly could be setting up. I don't really know too much about it. I like that it's doing this though. All of those previous highs here. It's starting to trade up and over them. So that's good to see. Definitely something that you want to be mindful of. When scanning the market, which ones do you suggest? Okay, so I suggest whatever you want. But the list of stocks that you were talking about, they were down here in the scanner right here. Was the ones we were talking about with Lolly. If you're talking about the tickers that I was referring to earlier, kind of the first 2 hours of the show, was the top energy names. These are just the top 10 names in each, the XOP and the XLE. But yeah, the names on the scan were right here. And anybody who wants to can, if you're a TrendSpider user, click that link to that scanner that I just made. Feel free to use it for yourself. Play around with it. See if you can get some good results. But Lolly, when it comes to scan through lists, I generally like to scan through the largest lists that we have available. That is going to be, the three largest lists: NASDAQ, NMS, this guy, 3,600 symbols, NYSE, the NYSE composite, it's about 1,800 symbols, and then the Russell, 2,000. Those are the three largest lists that we offer. Interesting. Michael, you're saying that you cannot see the tickers that are right here? You can't see the tickers that are in the scan that came up as the scan results? Oh, you're saying it's just like small? Unfortunately, I have no way to make this bigger. It just is as big as it is. My eyes aren't very great either, I have to be honest. I just recently got some glasses. I don't know if they really help me just yet. I'm still getting used to them. I'm sorry that I can't do anything to make this bigger for you, Michael. But, and then PED. All right, we're going to look at PED real quick, and then we're going to get out of here. Ooh. PED's a little difficult. This looks like a low floater. That's what this looks like to me. This looks like a low floater that get chat rooms get a hold of this and pump it every once in a while. That's what this looks like to me. I could be wrong about that, but it's got that look. But hey, if it goes 120 to 250 like you suggested, that'd be a monster trade. So yeah, hope it does that for you. Anyway, guys, I'm going to get out of here. That is it. That is my time. That is all I have available. I hope that today was helpful. I hope you enjoyed that like crazy overview on those energy names. That was really fun for me. I enjoyed it. And we'll definitely be keeping our eye on those going forward. Again, tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern on Twitter Spaces. We're going to be hanging out with some friends of ours. Hold on, let me get those names for you real quick. Where is it? Where is it? Let's see here. Oh, man. Hold on. Who are we hanging out with? I said it earlier, but now I can't remember who it was. How's it not here? Well, anyway, trade ideas of the week space tomorrow night, Twitter, 8 p.m. Eastern. Wednesday, 2:30 p.m. Eastern. We are going to be back here. And we're going to be looking at monthly candles. The monthly candles close this Wednesday. We're going to be eyeballing all of them. And then Thursday night, again, YouTube, 8 p.m. Eastern time, live charting with Sarah Strat Sniper. So lots to do this week. And again, thank you all so much for being here. I do really appreciate it. I hope you have a great rest of your day, a great rest of your week, and I hope to see you guys back here very soon. All right, we'll see you later. Bye, guys.